Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, everybody. It's 7 o'clock on Thursday, February the 24th, 2022. It's time for the Conscious Creators Toolbox. So welcome. Come on in. We're going to get started in a little bit. I'm got a new routine going. I'm trying to do it in 30 minutes or less. So I was shooting for 45 minutes and I was going into an hour. So I'm going to try for 30 minutes and see what happens. But anyway, we're going to get started in a little bit. And it is Thursday. Every Thursday, it's something to do with the Conscious Creators Toolbox. Where I'm not here every Thursday night. Going forward, I've kind of switched up a little bit. I'm here on the second Thursday, I believe, second and the fourth Thursday. I'm here kind of sharing with you and going into the tool shed or the toolboxes and pulling out our creative tools and our creative power tools and sharpening them up, getting to know them, getting familiar with them. Nothing like having a shed full of tools and not being able to use them or don't know how to use them. So we do that on Thursday nights. Every Thursday night we're just doing something with our creativity and our creative powers and abilities. So I'm going to do it tonight. This is my time, my turn. I'm here, like I said, on the second and fourth Thursday. I'm going forward. I'm going to be here doing broadcasts on second and third Thursdays. Trying to work my way back into the center at Interfaith Truth Center down on Austell Road in Austell, Georgia, U.S. of A. Trying to get back down there. Things have kind of chilled out a little bit with COVID, and we were able to have a little bit more face time, a little bit more in-person time and getting together and mingling. So trying to figure out a schedule so I can get back down there on Thursdays, at least one Thursday a month anyway. But right now, broadcasting live on Tuesday, on the second and fourth Thursday. And on the other Thursdays, we hopefully will have guests, or we'll have special events and things happening on the Thursdays that I'm not doing a session for you and examining and dusting off and polishing up and sharpening up our creative tools and power tools. So we're going to be doing it tonight. Anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about the tool that we're going to take out. I personally consider it our most foremost, the most important tool that we have in the shed or in the toolbox. I think, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I would say that our identity, our personal self is, it's the power behind the tool. So any and everything else that we can pick up and use. So, we're going to be talking about our self tonight, our personal, unconditioned self, the true identity of who we really are. That part of us that's closest to source, closest to the heart of Father and the heart of Creator and creation, that unconditioned self. And it's a little bit different from the conditioned self, and we're going to kind of talk about the differences between the two, and really kind of give you an idea, remind you of how we come by that conditioned self. And it's no less important than the rest of us. Hi, Joan, I miss you so much, my neighbor, my friend, I miss you. Our conditioned and our unconditioned self, they're just, they both, have a place and an importance in our lives, and of course they both are tools. But again, my personal opinion is that true identity of who I really am, that person, that unlimited being that I truly am, and it's what I'm going to be talking about tonight, that unconditioned self tonight. But before I get started, just a couple of announcements. I kind of started off with announcing that I'm only here on Tuesdays, the second and fourth Thursdays every month going forward this year, and trying to get back into the center, and hopefully we'll have an announcement of that, shortly, coming up soon. On next Thursday, Jay Johnson, who is she does the tarot, twisted tarot. She has her own twisted take, if you would, on the tarot and the oracle cards, and she is going to be here. She's going to be doing a Zoom a Zoom event next Thursday at 7 o'clock for hopefully a 10 or 15 folk. We have about 10 or 15 seats that we want to kind of fill up and get folk in there who's interested in knowing and learning and understanding what tarot is all about and oracle cards is all about. Now, Jay, I'm going to tell you right now, she's a unique one, and that's the Twisted Tarot. She is very unique. She does not deb herself. She doesn't name herself. She doesn't label herself a card reader, tarot card reader, or oracle card reader. So you're gonna have to show up and find out next week what it is that she considers herself associated with the tarots and the oracle cards. But I tell you what, I was in her session, the first session that she did a couple of months ago, back in, I think it was November, December, and I learned so much about tarot, and I'm kind of a tarot. I enjoy tarot. I enjoy, looking at the cards and understanding and watching readers and even getting readings sometimes and getting, I own several. I probably own 10 or 15 decks myself just because a lot of them are just beautiful card decks. But I learned so much from her in that 45-minute session that she did with us a couple of months ago. And I will encourage you, if you have a curiosity or just an interest in tarot, take advantage of that. I think it's, I know that it's $15 for the session and $20 if you want a deck of cards, a free deck of a deck of cards go with that. And when you register, get all signed up, we send you the link, the Zoom link. And we also, if you're purchasing or you're purchasing the seat plus the cards, we'll make sure we try to get those cards to you as soon as we can. Don't know if we have time at this point going forward to get any more out. Get them to you, get them to to the folk that's signing up, going forward. But if you've signed up already, the cards are on their way. But if you are signing up now, as soon as we get as soon as we get you registered and everything, we'll get the cards in the mail to you as well. And if you're close enough, if you happen to be in the area and then on my route, I may can Uber them to you, or I don't know. We'll get them to you in any case. They're nice to have. It's it's a nice, cute little deck. It's just a standard writer deck that we sell you that goes with the class, and that's on next Thursday. So if you're interested in that, I will post and I'll do another post on the Facebook page and also on our Instagram channel to let you know. But you can go to our website, www.teamconsciouscreators.com, and that event is posted on the website as well, so you can register and sign up for that if you want to. Also, I don't know if you guys have been seeing our in-house doctor, Dr. Amber. Dr. Amber is actually joining the team as our in-house. It's our in-house doctor. Okay, she's agreed to facilitate a meet and greet the doctor, if you would, on March the 18th. We have very limited seats because we want to make it as personal as possible, so that people will get an opportunity to actually speak with her and ask her questions. And she's going to share her, kind of talk about who she is and her passion for what she does, and kind of get a little bit more in depth as to what her practice is all about. And also she'll be talking about the upcoming morning yoga video that she is producing just for conscious creators. Okay, it's a 30. I think she said it's a 20 to 30 minute basic, very general, very basic beginners yoga poses and yoga stretches. Something that you can do without hurting yourself. She says that she had her aunt who's up in age to actually she took her through the routine to make sure that it was something that was comfortable, that all of us can do. I tell you, I am overdue for a good stretch, and I cannot wait to get hold of it and see what she's producing for us. So that's going to be available sometime around the first week of March. I think she says she's going to have it all done for us. So watch for that. You can have access to it. be able to actually go on the website, download it. We'll make it available and very affordable for you to do that, so that you can use it every day. You know, you can use it every day. I'll have to get with our team, the web designer and web folk, and see how they can get it all set up so that you can download it at demand or have it on demand for you. And I think it's going to be a small fee to do that, because we have to hopefully kind of give her something for the love of putting it all together for her. So there'll be just a small little fee for you to download it and have access to it. But you'll hear a little bit more about that. So that's kind of exciting. So those are all the announcements that I have, I think. I think that's it. That's all the announcements that I have going forward. So please, if you are, but I would like to say that if you're interested in being a part of that meet and greet, if you want to attend that Zoom session, it will be a Zoom session. Shoot me, just drop me a message in Facebook Messenger or my email address, info@jeanaaron.com. Let me know that you're interested in coming. I think that we're going to have anywhere from 25 to 50 folk. We're going to try to reserve seats for them if you're interested in being a part of that. It's going to be, like I said, it's Q&A. She'll be able to answer questions for you. She'll be able to talk to you about what her practice is all about. And you can ask questions about, she's proficient and fluent, and she practices nutritional medicine. She practices botanical medicine, which is those herbs and alternative medicines rather than those prescriptions that our doctors prescribe. She does work with your doctor, so she and I are working together. She's doing some things with me, and I'm gonna be introducing her to my physician, and they're gonna kind of look at my health plan and see what we can do with some of the issues that bother me, like my asthma and bronchitis, those seasonal things. So she's kind of come up with a plan for me, so I can kind of migrate from going to the drugstore to going to the health food store, maybe, okay? Or just changing my diet and doing a little exercise. I don't know. She's got to work it all out for me. So anyway, you get to meet her. Hopefully March the 18th is when we've got to do that particular event. I think that's on a Friday. It's going to be about an hour and a half or something about, just comfortable enough that, she can do all, get her spill out, and then have an opportunity for you to ask her questions and be prepared for that. If you're interested, let me know that you'd like to be in. I think we've got a list of about 20 people right now who's been invited to attend, and we want to see if we can get a few more people for that event. So anyway, that's all I got. That's the announcements. Now for tonight. Like I said, the tool that we're talking about tonight is our unconditioned self. And that unconditioned self is indeed our true identity. That is who we truly are before the world told us who we ought to be, okay? Who we ought to be. But this is who we were before, they got their little paws on us and they start making all the, did all the conditionings and, and they called it enculturating us into society, okay? Before they did all of that, we were unconditioned. We were unconditioned selves. And that's who we really, truly are, down to the basics. And it's okay. I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not downing being conditioned at all. Not at all. We have, that's something that, for the sake of being a part of this society and this world that we live in, and being physical beings and human beings, we kind of have to be conditioned, because it's a zillion and a half of us, and a zillion and a few hundred zillions of us on this planet. So in order for us to probably live as peacefully as we possibly can, and that gets shaky at times, we need some conditioning. We need some house rules, if you would, or some boundaries and some do's and don'ts, okay? But before we get here, that being that we were, that unconditioned being that we were, needed none of that. We didn't need any boundaries, or we weren't subject to those. We weren't subject to those boundaries. And truly, honestly, that unconditioned self still exists, by the way. It hasn't gone anywhere. So, and again, I will tell you that it's still not subject to the conditions that our human lives and our human self, that ego self has to, that conditioned ego self has to, that is the subject to. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. So, I was going to start with the question, and I've already answered it for you, but I was going to start with this question. The question I wanted to start with tonight was, do you have an unconditioned self? All right, so I already gave you the answer. Yes, you do. We all have an unconditioned self, and whether we are familiar with it, whether we communicate with it or converse with it or not, we have an unconditioned self. All right. We have that conditioned self too. That's got the biggest mouth in town, okay? And it will be heard no matter what. All right. Unconditioned self is a little bit more laid back, laid back. It ain't going nowhere though, not anywhere at all. But we do. We all have an unconditioned self. And of course we have a conditioned self. I hear you, ego. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I see you talking to me. Tell me about. I know they know about you. But anyway, yes, we do. We all have, like I said, we all have unconditioned selves. And that unconditioned self is the true self. That's the self that I talk about to you, and I tell you that self that is unlimited and unrestricted, and that is a part that is pure. It's the source. It's the essence of who we are. It's who we were before we came here. It's who we will be when this body is no longer, that we don't need it anymore, or at some point in time, we're going to leave ego behind, and I don't know what's going to happen to ego. I haven't a clue what happens to ego after that. I'm not going to say what I was thinking, so because ego probably will get upset with me. But anyway, yeah, we all have unconditioned selves. So that's what we're going to be kind of focusing on tonight. So beyond our ego, there is an unconditioned self. And it is, again, that self that I talk about that was created in the image and the image and the same, out of the same stuff that creation was made out of. And that is the self that in my, what I call, and I tell my kids and my grandkids, that is our extension of self, of source, of God, of our creation, of creator. Comes from just the heart of God, the heart of source. So we are an extension of that. We are made out of the same stuff of that. We're connected to that. We'll never ever be disconnected to that, to source. So that is that, and that's who we are. That is the true identity. That's the unconditioned self that you hear me talk about often when I say you got to know who, what, and whose you are. That is the self that I'm talking about tonight. All right. So here we go. This is how we're going to do this. I want to get you to use your imagination a little bit tonight, because what I want you to do is I want you to imagine and I want you to envision, just for the night. I'm not gonna, no homework, by the way, not really. But just for the night, what I want to do is I want to invite you to think of yourself as as a baby, not just a baby, but a newborn baby, just a brand new baby. Just imagine yourself as a brand new baby, a baby just newly born, just on this side of the womb, just now, you just made it. You just made it down that birth canal, and here you are. All right. Consider yourself that. Now, if you're a parent, or a mother or father, mother or dad, then just envision your child. Remember, go back to that day that you were in the delivery room with your, preparing to push, if you're mom, or to preparing for the baby to, for the newborn to arrive. Okay, so I want you to kind of imagine that. I want you to think of that. I want you to go back there. I want you to, if you're the mom, you're in the stirrup, you're sitting there in the stirrups, and you're pushing and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're dad, you're the coach, or you're the, I don't know, the rah-rah, the cheerleader, or whatever. I'm not sure what they call them. I wanted them to be out of the room, but anyway, but you remember that. I want you to envision that scene and that time and that period and that day, if you could, and think about how you felt laying there, standing there with your dad with your mask on and your hospital attire. Think of how you felt when they said, oh, one last push, and then that one last push, and there there was the baby was there. That newborn was out in the world, out there in the world. Now I remember that. I've delivered 3 babies, and I remember each one of those, and I remember laying there, or kind of laying there. I was there, laying there in those stirrups, and once the baby was out of my, out of the womb and out in the world, I held my breath. I would hold my breath, and I was wishing that I could stop, the beating of my heart long enough, because it was so loud in my ears. I just wanted to just quiet my heartbeat so just long enough so I could hear the first whimper of my baby. That first whimper, that first noise, that I just didn't want to miss it. So I'm holding my breath and I'm wishing that my heart would quiet down or whatever so I could hear it. Now I know you probably, if you're a mom and you went through that, you probably felt some of the same things that I'm describing to you, but you probably, and maybe you had some of your own. But what I wanted you to do that for is I wanted you to just imagine that baby being brand spanking new into this world. Brand spanking new. You haven't even seen the baby yet. The doctors are still, and nurses are still cleaning her up or him up and getting it ready. And you maybe you finally hear the whimper or the cry, or I don't know if they smack them anymore. I don't remember them smacking my baby before, but I remember the sound. I remember hearing it. So, but I want you, I just want you to just imagine that, and I want you to remember how it felt. You just laying there and just holding your breath, and you're not wanting to miss that first sound. What you were witnessing, what you were actually witnessing, and you currently may be envisioning, what you were witnessing was the arrival of the true nature of that little newborn being, that little wee one. It was the true unconditioned, unadulterated, unculturated, unconditioned newborn being. All right, and that was the true, never touched by human conditioning that baby would ever have in that delivery room at that moment. The baby came out. And it was only until the nurse said to you, it's a boy, it's a girl, the baby's here, that the baby received its very first tag, label, title, name. It was the very first time, because before they uttered a word about the baby was just brand spanking new, without a tag or a name or a label or anything. It was just simply, I say, unconditioned love is what I call it. I also call it conscious love. Just consciousness love. This is all it was, just consciousness love. It's pure, unconditioned nature. And that was the true nature of who we are when we first get here. Before anybody put a word on us, anybody put any expectations on us, any conditions on us, before the doctor pronounced to you it's a boy or it's a girl or here she is, it was. I mean, even in the womb, she was in the womb. You may have given it names and you may have titles for it, but until it came, it was not. It was just pure, unconditioned, conscious love. That's all that baby was at that time. And I really want you to think about that. I want you to think about that tonight, and I want you to kind of hold on to that thought as we go through tonight's session. But I also want to ask you to, to kind of hold on to it, through the next few days. Because tonight, what I want to do tonight, my intention tonight is in the best way I know how, is I want to convince you that you indeed still have an unconditioned self that is a part of who you are, the true identity of who you are. I want to convince you of that. And again, yes, you do have a conditioned self, and I'm not discrediting or just discounting it or dismissing it in any way whatsoever. Because what tonight I want to do is I want to convince you, first of all, that you still have that unconditioned self. It's very much a part of you, very much a part of your existence, a part of your beingness. But I want to talk too. I want to talk about the difference. I want you to think about. I want to talk and think about the differences between the conditioned and that unconditioned baby, that newborn, that wee one that first came into the world from the womb. I want to talk about that. But I also want to ask you to be very open-minded as you listen, as you hear what I'm sharing. And if you don't get it the first time, I'm going to ask you to, I'm going to post it on the site or on YouTube, on our website. Go back and listen to it again until you I'm not trying to, make you believe anything, but I want you to understand. And understanding and belief is two different things. You can hear me out and say, yeah, I get it. I understand it. You don't have to agree with me or disagree with me. That's not the point. I just want to give you an understanding of your unconditioned self that is very much alive and well and existing and being with you right to this very day, and will be with you until you take that last breath. It was there with you when you took the first, and it's going to be there with you when you take the last, all right? It's your soul keeper. I call it the soul keeper too, all right? So do that for me tonight. Kind of be open-minded and listen with the intention of hopefully understanding. Not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing, but just understanding, all right? So I always like to start when I like to start with the definition, So of course I'm going to do that tonight. So what do I mean when I say unconditioned? You can probably go and look it up too. And I did, and I kind of got a variety of different definitions, all right? But I really like this one, and it's kind of a combination of several. Our unconditioned self, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to miss any part of it. Our unconditioned self is a consciousness of love that extends from the heart of God into the physical body, into all creation for that matter. If you're talking about from the heart of God, all of creation is an extension of the Creator. All right. So it's an extension from the heart of God into the physical body. That self, that unconditioned self, is not subject to conditions. All right. It's not subject to conditions. It's that part that I'll go into a little bit, but let me just read it first. It's not subject to condition. And in terms of our lives as humans, that unconditioned self does not keep boundaries, don't have reign or restraints, and it's not defined by society. It's not assigned or defined by society. It comes straight from the heart of God. And it's only one name. It's an I am. That's if it's a name at all. That's what God calls himself. God says, I am. So that's what that is. It's an I am. And in other words, we don't even get to name it. We get to name what it does after it, but we get that I am. That's what I am. Okay. So it's an I am. It's a conscious, and I love the concept of it being consciousness. Now, consciousness, not necessarily awareness. When that baby first comes, I don't know how aware it is, but I know that it's conscious, because once it takes that breath and it's breathing and it's pumping, the whole heart's beating, and the blood's going, and the lungs are doing, everything is working right. Conscious. We know that it's alive and it's conscious. All right. And over a period of time, it begins to, wake up and start, having these sensations and these what's going on, and start asking questions of itself or wondering about, then it start becoming aware, awakened and aware. And hopefully with the best intentions and purpose, it becomes more and more awakened and aware as it evolves and grows and matures, right? And be conditioned, okay? All right. So that's my definition of unconditioned self. It is the extension, it's a consciousness that extends from the heart of God, that is not subject to conditions or labels or names or terms or reins or constraints or limitations that society might expect or put on it. It's not subject to that, all right? And it has only one name, source. It's source. It's whatever. It's the same thing that you call God, the same thing that you call your creator, it's the same thing that you call your father, your divine, the great I am. It's the same thing, same stuff. So that's the only, that's the name. That's it, all right? So unconditioned self is you. It's a you without a mask, without a title, without a boundary, without a constraint, without reins, without labels, without a name. All right? That's what I am. That's all it is. That's the only name it's got. Right? And it's totally, that's it. It's naked. Just like a baby comes in the world naked and without anything and without all those conditions. That's the unconditioned self. So when you think of that baby, when you think of the baby, and you think of the same way think of the baby with no name, no labels, no titles. And at birth, the baby is completely unconditioned. At least, like I said before, at least until the nurse says to you, here's your baby girl, or it's a girl, or it's a boy, or here's your baby. And that's when the labels and the names and titles start. Now, like I said, you probably had a name reserved for it before it got here. So you may, oh, give me my little Johnny, or give me my little Mark, or give me my little Timmy, or give me my Ken, or what Kenny, or give me my baby, whatever, my girl, my Jamie, or whatever. So we start labeling the baby right at that moment. The first one is a boy, it's a girl. That's the first label. Or it's a baby, whatever. But before that baby leaves the hospital, we've already started conditioning it, and we've already started labeling and tagging it and putting, conditions on it, all right? Because I'm gonna tell you, with every title, with every name, with every label, with every mask, I'm gonna say mask because all of these, that's what happens. For every title and every name and every label that we give ourselves or buy into ourselves or accept or take on for ourselves, the ones that we gave those babies before they left the delivery room, all of those come with conditions. A baby, there's some conditions being a baby in this society, okay? There's some conditions, right? And just in case you don't know what they are, then let me tell you, the nurse will tell you, this is a healthy baby boy, okay? It's a condition, it's a healthy child. Or this baby has some issues going on, some health issues. All right, so there you go. So we start labeling, conditioning it immediately. And again, I'm not here, banging on conditioning because, hey, that's how we manage to migrate and motivate and motivate, be mobile in this world and to be a part of this society and the lives and the world that we live in. We have to be enculturated to do it, because if we're just left to our own devices, that the baby would, like you say, stand out like a sore thumb. We don't want that to happen. We don't want the baby to be, an outsider or ostracized or anything. We want the baby to be a part of the family. So we're going to have expectations of it. We're going to have conditions for you to be a part of this family. Not anything really terrible or hard, just, obey your mom, eat your spinach, and, take this bottle and, go to sleep when mommy goes to sleep, and, just those kind of conditions, okay? So we do. We start right away conditioning it. Now, what you're conditioning is you're just, you're birthing ego. You're birthing that ego is what you're doing, because you can't remember that unconditioned, that unadulterated, pure conscious love cannot be conditioned. No, you can't condition it because it's not subject to good conditions. It doesn't roll like that, okay? But ego pops up, and ego does, because ego wants you to make your home here in this world, in this beautiful world, and so that's what's being conditioned. All right, that's the conditioned self, is ego. And ego has a lot to learn. And ego doesn't learn very well, by the way, because ego still tries to step out of bounds, doesn't know its place sometimes, but we're still working on it. But anyway, so that's what happens. That's what happens. So again, before we take our first breath, before we take, really, truly, before we take our first breath, sometimes, before they're still cleaning up the baby and trying to make sure that the baby's going to breathe, we've already tagged it. It's a boy. It's a boy. It's a girl. It's a girl. It's healthy. Yeah, it's healthy. Oh, she's got her eyes open, or his eyes are open. Okay, so now we got these names and labels and the conditioning all set up so that the baby can be a part of the family, the neighborhood, the world that it lives in. Okay, and we got and hey, believe me, most parents got that whole 12 years, the first 12 years all mapped out for the child. Okay, then they got started saving money for the 4 more years or 8 more years. We had it planned. We got that culturations thing down so pat. We know how to be, we know how to be mommies and daddies and sisters and brothers and communities for the physical person, that ego. We know how to do that. We know how to do it. We do it well. We do it well. So the first breath, before we take the first breath again, right at birth, we start, that unconditioned little baby starts to be conditioned and culturated into society, setting boundaries and expectations and names and titles and stuff on it. All right, we start right away, and we are ushering them into our conditioned way of life. And like I said, we do it because we love them. We want them to be secure. We want them to feel at home. We don't want them to be ostracized and be an outsider or be, they stand out like a thumb. We want them to blend. We want them to blend in, okay? And we do a good job, right? But telling the baby who they are, what they can do, where they can go, where they can't go, it's all okay. Like I said, it's okay. I'm not beating up conditioning at all, because I feel like I'm a pretty model citizen myself, so I was conditioned well. My parents did a good job. So of course, it's like I said, it's for the safety and the security of the baby that we train them, we show them and how to be a part of society and how to have a good physical existence here. We teach them that. And of course, like you said, we want them to fit in, so that's why we do it. So I guess that all of that we do, all that we're doing is we're trying to make them feel more valuable or more worthy or more happy and proud to be here and be able to contribute so they can feel good about themselves, right? Well, you know what? Before anybody said anything at all, before they said anything at all about the baby, right out of the womb, the baby was perfect. That unconditioned being, that baby, that wee one, was perfect just like it was, without a name, without a title, without any enculturation at all, because they came straight from the heart of God. They were straight from the source. Can't be no better than that. Okay. So what I'm saying here is that we forget to remind them. We forget to remind them, and sometimes we forget to remind ourselves who we were before we got here. Because we got all of the trimmings now and all the names and titles and everything, and we're conditioned and we're great model citizens, and a lot of us are taxpayers and do-gooders and mommies, daddies. We got all we got all kind of labels, and they are very productive labels, and we are valuable to ourselves, to our family, to our citizens, to our community, to our world. All right? But we seem to forget that we were that and then some before we tagged on our conditions. All right? We were. You know why? Because God said so. God said so. God said we were good. We were perfect. We were loved. We were lovable. We were loved. That's what we were. We were pure, unconditioned, conscious love. That's what we were. That's what we were. And we were lovable. Nobody had to convince the baby that the babies are lovable. All right? They're lovable. All right? And the names and titles and the conditioning don't make them any more lovable. I'm sorry to say. It doesn't make them any more lovable. It just make them make you and I comfortable with them being a part of our world is what it does. All right? Because the baby could keep on doing what it does, and all those things that no, you can't do that, Johnny. They would be happy, just leave me alone and let me do it, okay? And they would just be happy and lovable, and everything would be okay. And they would be, again, they would still be the straight from the extension from the heart of God, like we are. All right? The unconditioned self, like I said, is consciousness of love, conscious love that has come into the world as an extension from God. And that little wee one is source, is God, is source, is love. That's all they are. That's what we are. That's who we were before the world told us who we got to be in order to be comfortable and fit in. All right? We were all that. Until the wee one is given names and titles and masks and boundaries and expectations, all they were, again, were simply unconditional love. Before even knowing anything at all, they were simply conscious love, pure love, lovable. And then, like I said, immediately following that first breath, we start putting the weight of conditions on them. It was put on us because we had the same route. Those weights of conditioning was placed on us, and we were given them, and we were told to. We were given expectations, and as children, we do what we're told, and we follow the leaders and follow what we see and imitate what we hear and do what we see other people do, and just because we want to do what we see you do, and we want all of a sudden now we got to earn your love because you put this weight on them, so now they're doing these things to earn love, and they are love. Before we start putting the weight on them, that's all they were love. So my thing is, and it's only a suggestion, my idea, is in the process of conditioning them, conditioning our children, ourselves, even ourselves, because like I said, we still have an unconditioned self present. We ought to acknowledge that unconditioned self and remind that unconditioned self, and remind ourselves that conditioned self, that there is an unconditioned self that is nothing but love, that's pure love, that's there for a purpose. It's not, you got your purpose, to fit into the society. Well, that unconditioned self has a purpose too, and in working hand in hand with you can make mountains move. So my suggestion is that don't discard or dismiss the conditioning. No, not at all. But incorporate. Let's go back and make sure that we have reminded ourselves, and for heaven's sake, and for God's sake, and for Jean's sake, when a baby comes into the world, help them preserve and understand and recognize and embrace and always, always, always be so thankful and loving of who they really are. You know, that unconditioned self, who it really is. Because left unattended, left unreminded, ego is going to be the boss, okay? Ego going to be the boss because ego is going to be the boss. And that's okay. It's nice to have a little, little dance going on between the two. But ego's not the boss, okay? All right? Because ego has its limitations. But this unconditioned self over here is not subject to all that stuff ego has to do. We look at ego and ego say, okay, yeah, go on. But remind yourself, remember who you were before the world start naming you and conditioning you and enculturating you. And again, you have children, you have babies, you help them, help the wee ones. Always, always, always never lose sight of who they are, that they are love, that they are extensions of their source, which is God, which is Father, which is the great I am, which is divine creation. Help them always know that, because that, understanding that and knowing that is, again, your most powerful tool in your toolbox, all right? It is that piece of you, that part of you that is always, always connected to source, connected to divine, connected to creation. Never ever is gonna, as long your soul keeper, that is your soul keeper, all right? The one thing you came here with is with your soul, and that's all you're gonna leave here with, all right? So that unconditioned self is the keeper of that soul. And it's something that it's a powerful understanding. It's something that's beneficial for you to understand and to know. And as parents and as adults, make sure that our children understand and make sure that they are just as proud of that unconditioned self, as proud as they are of the degrees and the private schools and all the letters behind their names after they graduate or whatever. Make sure that they understand that is just as important, if not more, than anything that can be given to them in the physical. All right. Be aware of the self. Be aware of the whole self, not just the ego. And I'm not bashing ego, because I gotta hang out with ego the rest of my life. So just be aware of that self. Take the time, make the time, and make the effort to get to know the unconditioned you. It's called going and finding the real you, the true you, that part of you, again, that keeper of your soul you. That part of you that is unlimited, unrestricted, not bound by all the stuff that ego has to be bound by, all right? And by knowing that, by understanding who you are, it'll make you the most effective and the most powerful manifester, creator of your life and your destiny. You'll find yourself living better, I call it live well, manifest best, live well, and you'll be living you'll have just the best life, and you'll have the best experience of while you're here living this life. You'll just enjoy it. So be aware of who you are, the real part of you, that part of you that was you before you were Jean or John or Virginia or Pearl or Joan. Just remember who you were before the world told you who you needed to be or you ought to be in order to fit in. All right. God loved you He loved you just like you were. All right. Just like He sent you here. All right. That's all I have tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I look forward to the next. I think my next time here with you will be the second. I don't know the date, but the second Thursday in next month. But if you get a chance, and if you're interested again, Jay Johnson will be with us on next Thursday. She'll be doing a tarot little tarot training. Twisted Tarot is what she calls it. And I will be speaking on Sunday at ITC. I think they're having a great, if you're in town, you may want to stop by. They're going to have potluck. I think it's our annual ITC day. So I'll be speaking. I think I'm speaking kind of something along the lines of unconditioned. I think the topic is unconditional love. There's no better love. There's no better love than unconditional love. So I think that's the topic that we're going to be talking about on Sunday. Anyway, thanks so much for being with me, and manifest best. Remember, live well, manifest best. Get to know who you are. The best journey you will ever take is the journey into discovering, rediscovering, reacquainting yourself with the unconditioned self. All right? Introduce him to ego, by the way. Ego needs to know he's got a partner. Anyway, take care, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Manifest best, and I love you because God does, and that's what you are. You're love. So take care, and good night.